Hey guys, Tarke here, and today I want to talk to you about Path of Exile, the devs trying to reclaim Path of Exile in their mind. But first I want to talk to you about Chile, because I feel like there's a lot of parallels there. So I spent half of my childhood growing up in a small Spanish island called Majorca, because we have some family out there, and we'd spend half of the year there. Now, there was this one tiny Chile restaurant. It was one kind of like just like a little hole-in-the-wall cafe run by a husband and wife. And all the locals used to eat there because they had the spiciest chili. And chili was the only thing they had on the recipe. They just had this chili, no variants. There was that, and you could get some bread. That was the only thing they sold. But everyone loved them because they were a really friendly couple that ran this place. And it was just the best chili. And if you like spicy chili, that was the place to be. And I would go there like nearly every day with my family. I would eat this stuff. And then when I would come back to England, I'd actually think about this chili place of just how good the food was and how friendly the atmosphere and everything was. And I would always look forward to going back there, you know, at the end of every year when we had a holiday or something coming up. So I vividly remember there was one year where we went back and everything had changed. So we didn't know this, but what would happen was while we'd been in England, they'd gotten some coverage in the press about like how amazing they were. They suddenly got loads of traffic and they blew up, and they got to open up 2 other restaurants across the island. And suddenly they were kind of like this budgeting chain. And it was like amazing news, and they were all so pleased, and I was all so excited. I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then I noticed that the next time I went there, I had a bowl of chili. The recipe was slightly different. And I was like, oh, like, have you changed something? And like, yeah, so as we've been expanding, we've had to change the recipe a bit because, you know, the local chili was a bit too spicy. So we've tweaked things a bit. And we're like, oh, okay. You know, a little bit sad, but like, oh, you're making great strides. Well done. So, you know, year after year, they kept growing and they kept expanding, and they kind of became like the Starbucks of chili on this island. But as a result of that, they had to keep changing the recipe to accommodate as many people as possible. And they suddenly had to start adding more things to the menu, and it kind of became more just kind of like a standard sort of like a diner experience, unless this one small special niche thing. And I still think about that chili to this day. And I know that I can never go back and eat that original bowl of chili because it doesn't exist anymore, because the recipe is different and the experience is different, and everything about the restaurant is completely changed because that small little hole in the wall experience just doesn't exist anymore. And that's what I think Path of Exile is. I think Path of Exile is a too spicy bowl of chili. And what we're kind of seeing now is the developers trying to reclaim that original hole in the wall spicy experience. Because while they've grown into this massive empire and they're basically leading the ARPG genre, they've had to change their recipe to do so. And they're now trying to reclaim that recipe. And I feel very bad for the people whose current chili is their favorite chili, and they're worried they're not going to be able to get that anymore. Because that's something that I've felt for about 10 years now. And yeah, that's the Path of Exile chili story. And it's based on a true story, although I did, you know, tweak it a little bit slight to fit the narrative. The real reason why I can never have that original bowl of chili is actually slightly sadder. So what happened was the wife had a stroke and was left half paralyzed, and they had to sell the business.